Hello, my name is Wendeley Guzman, and today I'll be sharing with you my honors project, The Reality After the Dream, The American Experience en la Misma Luna. The American Dream, a iconic and familiar phrase, to some only a simple term to use in any class discussion to sound more intellectual, but to the millions of immigrants who flood to America's gates every year, it's a promise of freedom. That despite the raging rapids and currents of El Rio Grande, the thousands of miles they may have to walk, or the hundreds of dangers they may find along the way, it motivates them to continue on the dangerous trek towards liberty. Yet when they get to the other side, they do not encounter el sueño americano. Instead, they find a nightmare media portrayals usually ignore. A nightmare director Patricia Riggins strives to showcase in her film La Misma Luna. This brings me to my research question. How does Patricia Riggins showcase components of the immigrant experience to humanize undocumented immigrants and shed light on foreigner hardships to American and global audiences? To answer this question, we will firstly be discussing the media perspective of La Misma Luna and the conversation surrounding the film. Then we will be talking about the components of the immigrant experience, such as those vital and integral components of an immigrant's life after crossing the border. Then we will be discussing the analysis of the immigrant experience in La Misma Luna and how these components of the immigrant experience are showcased throughout the film. Finally, we will be speaking about my conclusion and the broader significance of the film in American and global audiences. Before diving into the analysis of the film, it is vital to understand the media perspective of La Misma Luna and the conversation surrounding this film. One of the most prominent opinions regarding the movie is its over-reliance on emotion and how it is used to distract the audience from the lack of reality and acknowledgement to the real issues of immigration the film actually provides. Many believe that the cute protagonists and their stereotypical character descriptions, such as the cruel and mean American citizens versus the kind, nurturing immigrants, serve only to hinder the message and credibility of the film when speaking about immigration policies. Regardless of their opinion, scholars and writers recognize the political background of this film, as many deem it impossible to make a messaging this direct without having a political agenda. Many agree that it serves a political purpose because it fuels movements that seek the alteration of immigration policies around the country and even globally. Now that we've talked about the media perspective on La Misma Luna, we can move on to discuss the components of the immigrant experience. Now, this term describes the widely experienced challenges by strangers in a foreign country, and it extends past the necessary and difficult journey accompanied by hardship and dangers, and also encompasses the obstacles that continue to be present in immigrants' lives after entering the land of the free. Now, this phenomenon has three main vital components: social exclusion, abandonment and separation, and fear and uncertainty. Now, the first one, social exclusion, can be manifested through various ways. One of the main ones being language barriers. Many of the immigrants that come into the United States have a very little grasp of the English language, making it very difficult for them to make connections outside of their immigrant community, therefore hindering their opportunities to make relationships and to reach opportunities that can make their future better. This can also lead to unequal opportunities in the job market, as many of the jobs immigrants hold usually have low quality and are a risk to their health. This can also be rooted in xenophobia and the historical racism experienced in American society. For example, the Chinese Exclusion Act and many other immigration policies that have objected against immigration. Next is abandonment and separation. Now, when families decide to pursue a better future, they must decide whether to abandon their children in their native countries or risk being separated by Border Patrol officers when they reach America. Now, either way, there are psychological effects onto the children left behind and those who are separated from their parent. The negative feelings harbored by the separation and abandonment usually lead to high mental health issues that can physicalize themselves through criminal activity, depression, anxiety disorders, or gang affiliation, or other violent acts, which can express the anger and sadness that a child feels, as they only understand that their parent has left, not why. Fear and uncertainty is another major component of the immigrant experience, as recent massive deportations and detainments have caused great anxiety and chaos in the immigrant community. But this uncertainty extends past the fact of deportation and having your life taken away in 1 second, but also to the instability of jobs and housing that many immigrants have to deal with due to their undocumented status, as there is lack of opportunity in those areas because of their legal status. Now, before moving on, I deem it necessary to provide a brief summary of the film. La Misma Luna tells the story of a young 9-year-old boy, Carlitos Reyes, who has survived life in Mexico under the care of his grandmother, while his mother Rosario works illegally in LA for 4 years. After the unfortunate death of his grandmother, understanding the danger of being taken advantage of by other family members, Carlitos decides to cross the border to be reunited with his mother illegally. During his trek, the boy encounters several perils, including a couple of college kids using him for fast money, a drug addict almost selling him for money, etc. Not only does the child suffer traumatic experiences with strangers, but he also has to live through the unpredictability of having a place to sleep, food to eat, money to use to advance towards his final destination, seeking employment, etc. In the end, with the help of friends made along the way, Carlitos is seen to be just a crosswalk away from finally hugging his mom once again. After understanding the basics of the film, we can explore cinematic elements in order to understand the depth of the immigrant experience in La Misma Luna. Director Patricia Riggins explores the concept of social exclusion on a profound level, utilizing various cinematic elements such as setting, costuming, and character stories. Through the use of various settings throughout the film, it is illustrated that there are disparities between the quality of life of foreigners and American citizens. For example, Rosario's workplace, where she works as a housekeeper or maid, can be seen as a symbol of status and wealth, as there are various luxury items throughout the home that showcase high-quality life of the white family. Exotic plants, a gold statue, the comfortable lounge chairs surrounding the space serve to showcase the wealth of the family, serving as a direct contrast of the home Rosario lives in, which she indicates to be a cochera, or a garage, being physically, ironically, excluded from the rest of the house. The home appears with barred windows, indicating that it's a dangerous zone to live in, and a trashy, messy look on the outside, indicating it's a low-income area where the quality of the home doesn't matter much. This direct contrast furthers the social exclusion experienced by many immigrants, as the undocumented status prevents them from gaining a higher quality housing. The costuming and character stories also demonstrate lack of opportunities for immigrants, specifically in the job market. The messy and unkept clothes of the gentlemen in this picture serve to showcase or to imply that they have been an arduous labor in a low-quality job, probably in an agriculture field or in other physically dangerous jobs that most immigrants have to take, as the undocumented status of many prevents them from obtaining higher positions with higher salaries, as many of these job positions lack benefits, therefore higher risk but not higher benefit. The use of this costuming and the fact that most of these men have to work 2 jobs to maintain their families in Mexico, along with Rosario, who explains she also has to work in 2 houses in order to maintain Carlitos, demonstrates how much harder immigrants have to work because of the lack of opportunities they have in American society, therefore furthering the social exclusion many immigrants have to endure. One of the main plot points is Carlitos having to live apart from his mother after she decides to have a chance at a better life for her son. Now, in the beginning of the film, we can see Carlitos and his mother on a phone call. While he is talking to his mother and expressing his sadness over her having to be away on his birthday, we can see a different colored lighting, darker, moodier, on Carlitos' side. He is expressing to his mother how he does not want to be apart from her any longer. And the lighting is reflecting his mood, immediately changing when he is transported through his imagination to Los Angeles, where his mother is standing. His facial expression changes along with the brighter lighting, indicating hope and happiness that he feels once being reunited with his mother. This drastic difference in lighting contributes to the negative emotions that children can feel after separation, as Carlitos does not understand why his mother is gone, just simply that his mother is gone. We can also see that there are violent outbreaks and dialogue that indicate Carlitos is feeling negatively about the separation from his mother and the abandonment from his father. We can see Carlitos kicking around his backpack and not accepting the comfort from his friend. And he also says, ¿Por qué mi papá no quiere estar conmigo? Or why does my dad not want to be with me? Yo cuando vine a este viaje pensé que mi mamá ya no me quería. Or when I came on this trip I thought my mom didn't love me anymore. So Carlitos' dialogue and his actions demonstrate violence and turmoil felt after the separation, therefore enhancing those negative physical and psychological effects caused by the abandonment and separation that many have to face in order to seek the American dream. Another major factor of the immigrant experience showcased throughout La Misma Luna is fear and uncertainty. Now, immigrants have to deal with fear and anxiety of having to separate from their children once immigration or ICE agents burst through the door, or maybe having anxiety over losing a job and not being able to find another one based on their documentation status. Now, the movie is able to transmit these feelings of melancholy anxiety through musical score. In this scene, we can hear the change between the happy and moving music, very cultural, very close to the culture of many immigrants, and the melancholy feeling transmitted through this orchestral piece. Now, the piece serves to enhance the anxiety you've seen and felt from the workers running away from the border patrol as many run to hide. And not only does it, though, enhance the anxiety, it also portrays the melancholy and the sadness felt by these people captured as they now have to leave a home that they have built in this country and have to once again relocate to another country and have to start once more. Dialogue and storytelling are also utilized to showcase uncertainty endured by immigrants. One of Rosario's lines read, ¿Y qué tiene de maravilloso nuestras vidas? A ver, todo el tiempo corriendo de la migra, which can be translated to, tell me how wonderful are our lives then? We're running from ICE all the time anyway. Not only does it clearly indicate the fear of border patrol that immigrants may have, but also the fear of being ripped away from the life that you have built in this country. Many immigrants have spent years here building families, building lives, building connections, all for it to be taken away with a knock at the door. It also showcases that many live without peace that the American dream promises because of the legal status, or better said, the lack of one. In conclusion, the film provides an insightful perspective into the lives of immigrants, therefore creating humanization of immigrants on not only a national scale but also globally, as it gives a new light to the immigrant experience and causes compassion in the audience. It also brings representation to minority groups, usually stereotyped in negative ways in mainstream media, specifically immigrants and Hispanics, who are usually viewed as criminals, drug dealers, or crime lords who want nothing but evil things for society. But it also allows for a broader discussion of alteration of immigration laws. It is known that there is a political message behind the film that causes and fuels movements calling for alteration of harsh immigration laws and seeking for the proper placement of immigrants among American society. Now, the broader significance of the film. The film serves as an influence in the perpetually relevant discussion of immigration. and specifically now as the political climate in the nation is very anti-immigration, and the current presidential administration's plans of immigration have harbored a lot of distress, not only among the immigration community, but also along those that support it. And the medium used to present the piece adds to the expansion of the humanizing message, allowing for various audiences to understand the humanizing aspect of immigrants, and to not criminalize these individuals, but to appreciate the effort and goals they have in mind. Finally, La Misma Luna is the best representation of the immigrant experience, showcasing the dangers during and after the immigrant journey, as the hardships not only stay in their native country and on the dangerous trek they make towards America, but also after the fact that they join American society, where they experience various limitations and lack of opportunities. The film serves to explore and to showcase a new perspective on immigration and immigrants. These are my sources. Thank you.